Hello again, everyone. My name is Olivia Roth, and I'm the Director of Online Programs for Penn Engineering. I am delighted to welcome you to today's webinar. We have some guests with us today. They are part of our Student Affairs team, and they will be talking about some of the services that we offer through Student Affairs in terms of student support and well-being. And after that, we will do a quick run through of some of the basics of our degree program, MCIT Online, in case you are not familiar with that. If you are familiar, you can duck out before the end. And if you're not, you can stay for the whole time. So just a few housekeeping things to get started. We have a Q&A tool in the Zoom options where you can submit questions. We're going to go through the first part of our presentation about student affairs, and then we will take some time for answering those questions on air. After that, the team behind the scenes will stick around for a little while and answer even more questions, but I wanted to tell you about some of the other resources that are available to you. One is our website, online learning at, well, let me think about this. I was sort of saying our email address. I'll do our email address first, online-learning@cs.upenn.edu. And our website is very similar, onlinelearning.cs/cs.upenn.edu. So variations of a theme, if you can catch the pattern. So as well, on our website, we have quite a few FAQs that are organized in a searchable format. So if you're working on your application, or if you're just kind of wondering about some basics, you should probably be able to find some answers there. And then you can always send us an email. Our admissions team is extremely helpful and responsive, so they will get back to you as well. We also have weekly Zoom advising sessions with our admissions counselors. So on our website, there's a link to sign up for private sessions where you can talk to admissions counselor. If you have applied in the past and were not admitted, just note that we are not allowed to give specific feedback on applications, but we are happy to talk with you about best practices for submitting your application and what types of things can make them as strong as possible. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So let me share my screen here. Okay, so as I said, my name is Olivia, and I've been with Penn Engineering Online for about 3 years since our founding. And we have, at this point, an awesome degree program called MCIT Online. We have amazing folks working behind the scenes every day to ensure that our students are having a great program experience. And we would like to introduce you to some of those people. So first, let's meet Adrienne.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adrienne Yoder. I am the Senior Student Affairs Coordinator for MCIT Online Learning. I have been with the program for about 1.5 years, and my role in online learning is to basically help you as the student as you are going throughout the program. So, you know, if you have questions about, you know, the upcoming semester and course planning, I'm absolutely the person you can talk to about that. But I'm also kind of a one-stop shop. You know, if you have questions about other resources at Penn, you can start with me and I can direct you to the appropriate people that you'd like to talk to. And also if you just have questions about the program or, you know, deferring or taking a leave of absence, I can definitely advise you on that. And I also help with doing planning events for the program, either online or in person. And now that, you know, things are getting safer and people are coming back to campus, we're hoping to host more in-person events as well.
Awesome, thank you, Adrienne.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next we have Kendall.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kendall Johnson. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Affairs for Penn Engineering Online and the MCIT Online program. I work with Adrienne very closely on student advising, planning, and preparing for those events, virtual and on campus. And I work very closely with ensuring that students are successful in our program. So if you have any concerns or questions as a student in the program, I will be one of the people that you will interact with. And I'm so very, very excited to have you all here, and I look forward to working with you and answering your questions today.
Thank you. So I saw one question already in the Q&A tool, which was about whether this meeting will be recorded. So yes, we are recording it, and we will definitely post it on our YouTube channel afterwards. And as soon as it's all polished and ready for the public eye, we will also post a link on all of our social media channels. So we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and Twitter. So let's go to the next slide. So we have a couple of questions for our student affairs representatives. So we're going to start with this one. What topics are covered in the core courses and electives?
Yeah, so I can help answer that question. So in the MCIT Online program, there are 6 core courses, and then there are 4 electives. It's required that every student complete those. And so our core courses cover the foundations of computer science. And so it's a lot of material. You're going to be learning a lot in those courses. When you start out, you're going to be learning different programming languages such as Java and Python. When you move on to the next courses, you'll be learning about some of the mathematical foundations of computer science. And then you'll be moving on to learning about computer architecture, computer systems. And from there, it just goes on to a higher level of learning for 594, 595, and 596. So those kind of expand on those first few topics. So as I mentioned, that's a lot of information to cover in 6 core courses. And so it's going to feel very accelerated in our program. But as I'll talk about a little bit later, we have support systems to help you all through it as you are learning, as you are growing in this program. At the end of even your first course, you'll be amazed at all that you've been able to learn in just 14 short weeks of the program. And so those are what the core courses cover. And then in the electives, that's really an opportunity for you to explore your very specific interests in computer science. And so in our electives, we cover topics that are really relevant to what's going on currently in the industry of computer science. Also, our faculty are experts on those topics, and so they'll be able to get into the details of those topics with you. And so this is just kind of a smattering of some of the topics that are covered in our electives, but it keeps growing each semester. So you'll be learning about data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things. We also have an introduction to robotics course. We've recently introduced a blockchain and cryptography course. And we'll have more courses that are being introduced in the coming semesters as well. And so along with that, what I want to mention is that we have so far introduced 1 to 2 new electives each semester. I don't think we'll be slowing down anytime soon. What I'll say is that if there is a topic that our students are interested in, that they want to learn about, that we don't offer yet for our electives, we take your feedback very, very seriously. So if there's something you want to learn about, something that maybe, would be really helpful in your job, absolutely let us know. And we'll definitely take that into consideration as we're planning.
That's right. We will try our best.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's sometimes factors beyond our control, but Adrian's right. We have such a breadth of knowledge and expertise within Penn Engineering. And so it's wonderful to be able to share that with the students.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, next question, Adrian. If I need help in my classes, where can I go for support if I was a student?
Yeah, definitely. There are many avenues of support in Penn Engineering Online Learning. And what I'll say is that we kind of have it from all different angles. If you need course support, we have TAs and instructors that can work with you. If you just want to work with students, you can absolutely go into the Slack channel and work with them. And then if you need support sort of to kind of figure out, what you need to do in the future in this program, if you need to take a leave, you have support from us as staff. So just to go through the details with you on each, if you need course support, we have teaching assistants and instructors that can help you. We offer office hours and recitations. And because we have students coming from all over the world and there are different time zones, we actually have availability for office hours and recitations at all times of the day. So that should give you an opportunity to attend them live. But if not, we do record them as well so that you can watch them later. And then if you can't attend them live, but you'd like to be in a message board, we do have message boards where you'll be able to message the TA or the instructor directly, and they'll get back to you within 24 hours. Also, if you want to talk to students in your course just to see how they're doing, if you want to form a study group, we have a Slack workspace, which is sort of like an instant messaging space where you can talk to students in real time. If you're familiar with Discord or with Microsoft Teams, it's a similar space to that where you can talk to students who are also in the space at the same time. And so that's a chance where you'll be able to talk to students who are in your class and just connect with them. And then, as I mentioned, there are people on staff that if you just need some support thinking about your next steps in MCIT Online, maybe you need accommodations for your class and you're trying to figure out where to go for that, that's something that we would be able to advise you on. And we would be able to connect you with other people in the university that could help you as well. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we have a really great program in Penn Engineering Online Learning where if you want to talk to students who have been through the program already or are like near the end, close to graduation, and you just want some of their expertise and advice, we have the MCIT Online Peer Mentoring Program. And all of our mentors are people who have completed at least 3 core courses. They love working with students and they've got great advice as you are going throughout your courses. And so if you just need help figuring out time management, if you just need like a sanity check, these are students that can absolutely talk you through it, help you out, point you to great resources. And also a lot of our students use our mentors just for like career advice. If they're in the job search and maybe the mentor is in the field that they're interested in going into, a lot of our students go to those other students for that type of advice. So as a new student in MCIT Online, our new students are able to connect with our peer mentors if they want one. So those are all just some of the support avenues that we have. And so we encourage our students to regularly interact with them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question is for Kendall. How do students make connections in MCIT Online?
Awesome. That's a very, very good question. There are several ways to make connections with your peers while being a part of the MCIT Online program. The first two, as Adrian mentioned, we have the Slack workspace, which is an instant messenger tool that allows you to connect with your peers in real time, to chat with them about the coursework, to maybe form a study group, to talk to them about career opportunities. Our program stretches across the world in several different disciplines within computer science. And so that's a great networking tool that you can use to connect with all of the students in the program. And then furthermore, we have our LinkedIn group, which is very active, and that also serves as a way for you to network and connect with your peers about, what they're working on as far as their career, what they're working on as far as the program and the courses that they're taking. So definitely make sure that you join those two spaces and are very active so that you can connect with your peers and build that camaraderie. Another important tool for making connections within our program is our MCIT Online Student Association. That association was started by some very eager students, and it is a thriving organization that hosts events, webinars, tools, providing tools and resources for students. So I strongly encourage you to engage with MOSA and attend their events and join their Slack workspace and their LinkedIn group so that you can stay in the know about what's going on as far as the students within MCIT. And then the last way that you can stay connected is by joining us for our virtual and in-person events. So we hold several webinars each term that allow you to connect with staff members and your peers within the program. And then we offer larger events each semester. So the main one for the fall will be our homecoming event. And then for the spring term will be the alumni weekend. So we encourage you to join into those events. And I'm so excited now that the campus is opening up. So more of our events will turn from virtual to being invited back on campus. And so we'll look forward to meeting you in person and enjoying these meetups and events. So we definitely encourage you to connect with us through those means so that we can get to know more about you and you can get to know more about us and your peers.
Yes, absolutely. Just a quick note before we go on to the next question. I think I forgot to say earlier that if you're joining us by phone, Zoom doesn't have a mechanism for you to submit questions live in real time, but you're always welcome to email our admissions team. And I'm going to repeat the email address. It's online-learning@seas.upenn.edu. And I will also put that in the chat soon after this. So what are some of the resources that MCIT Online students can access, Kendall?
Yes, also another very good question. Students in our program have access to lifetime career services, so they can use these career services for finding job opportunities, connecting with employers in the computer science field. Many of our students are coming into this program new to the computer science field, and so I know how important having career services is to our students, and so we allow them to do this. And we also have a director of professional development and networking, Emily Perry, that you will be connected to as a student in the program. And she holds webinars and events that allow students to connect with employers and job opportunities. Another important aspect of student services that you have access to is our Penn Campus Cultural Centers. And so the Penn Campus Cultural Centers are 6 cultural centers located on campus that provide resources and safe spaces for students to connect and get in touch with important resources as they may need to. And so you have access to those resources, whether you happen to be on campus or if you want to connect with them virtually. All of those campus centers do offer virtual office hours or connections via email or Zoom meetings. And so we strongly encourage our students to participate with the campus cultural centers as they feel that they need. They provide events, office hours, coaching, career services, and a plethora of other resources that our students find very useful. Additionally, you have access to the Penn Online Library. And so as a student, once you get your Penn ID, you'll be able to log into all of the library resources and be able to use the resources provided by the library, whether that's accessing databases, journal articles, renting out books on the campus library, using the Ask a Librarian function if you happen to need to write a paper or you are looking for other resources. So definitely know that you have access to those. And then towards the end of your time with us, as you near graduation, you will get in touch with alumni services. And so as a Penn alumni, you have access to, again, those lifetime career services. You also have access to all of the resources that Penn alumni have access to. So you want to make sure that you connect once you get ready to graduate so that you can be privy to those resources and sign up for them.
Awesome. Yeah, and there's one resource that's available right away, even before you graduate, which is that Penn has physical Penn clubs all around the world. And once students are active students, they're welcome to participate and connect in real life in those different locations. So that's another way that can kind of connect with the Penn network in a global sense. Okay, so thank you so much, Adrian and Kendall. Those were our prepared questions, but we're also happy to take questions that y'all have in real time. So I'm going to close this presentation so you can see us a little better and get started with some questions. So let's start with you, Adrian, since Kendall was just having a turn. The first question I see here is, are all the courses offered every term? And for example, are there also courses offered in the summer?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the majority of our core courses are offered every term. The only exception is we do not offer CIT 591 in the summer. And the reason for that is because we don't have any new students in the program in the summertime. And so, so we don't offer 591 in the summer typically. For the electives each kind of have their own schedule, so they're not offered every term typically. However, we do provide a schedule for students about a semester or two out so that you can be aware of what courses are going to be, what electives are going to be offered in the future for you. And so this should be able to help you plan, what courses you want to take in which semester.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, the next question is, do the MCIT and MCIT Online program share the same faculty?
Very, very good question. And yes, the faculty are shared across both the online and the on-campus programs.
Yep. Okay. So the next question is about like how often the courses are updated, the course content. So this person says that they're seeing some comments about an elective that has room for improvement according to some of the students. So how would the feedback for that get collected? How can students participate in improving the courses and providing feedback? It's funny, we're just having kind of a conversation about feedback in general on the program level. I'll let y'all decide who you want to answer.
Well, I can get started, Kendall, and then maybe you want to expand if I miss anything. So basically, we take feedback very seriously, as I mentioned before. And so we actually do send out a survey every week to see how things are going. It's kind of like a general temperature check, just to see how the courses are doing, how you're doing, if you feel like there's any need for improvement, or if there are things that are going really well. And so I would say that each term we try to tweak the course to make it even better for the students in the next term. We take that feedback very, very seriously. And so I don't know, I don't want to say anything that's not true, but I think the case is that if we're not making any huge major overhaul changes to the course each semester, but we are tweaking it, I think, each semester. Is that right, Kendall and Olivia?
Yes. And just to add, go ahead. Yeah, and just to add on to that, in addition to the weekly surveys, there is the end of course evaluations that students get to fill out. And that information does go directly to the faculty member and the course designers, so that we are taking, seriously the feedback that we receive from our students on how the course is set up, the material and the content of the course, because we want to make sure that we're providing you all the best experience and the best up-to-date computer science information.
Awesome. Okay, the next question is, on the program website, there are 10 courses required to finish the degree. Is it possible to take more than 10 courses during the period of study?
Yeah, it is. I'm able to speak to this a little. So it is absolutely possible. There's a couple of ways you can do it. So one is, if you have taken grad courses previously to MCIT Online that might be relevant to the MCIT Online degree, it is possible to transfer up to 2 courses into the program. And so if you want to, while oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to talk about transfer courses. I want to talk actually about waiving your exams. So if in the beginning of the program, you have taken courses already that are similar to 591, 592, or 593, which are intro courses to MCIT Online. If you take those waiver exams, if you are able to, you can take those waiver exams and test out of those courses. If you test out of those courses, you actually do have to take another MCIT online course in that place of that course. So you still have to take 10 courses total. But what that means is that you get the opportunity to take extra electives in the program. And so say that you test out of two, you waive out of 2 of those courses. That means you only have to take 4 core courses in the program, and then you can take possibly 6 electives in the program. And then the other way you can do it is in your final semester, if you have space, if you plan it out that you have space in your final semester, you are able to take more than 10 courses total in the program. So say that you've planned it out that you only have to take, that you take your 10th course in your last semester and you don't have any other courses you need to take that semester, you could actually potentially add like 1 or 2 more courses to your schedule, maybe taking up to 12 courses total for MCIT Online. So those are 2 possible ways to do it.
Yeah. The next question is, for MCIT Online, is there any financial aid from the school or other sources?
Awesome, a very good question. The MCIT program at this time does not offer any direct scholarships, but there are fellowships and scholarship opportunities offered by the School of Engineering, Penn Engineering. And so we can provide the link to that website for you because that has a listing of scholarships available. But I know that is something that we are looking into for the future for scholarships from our program directly. And then if you have specific questions about actual federal financial aid or grants, then we would definitely want to direct you to our Student Financial Services office, and we can post that email address as well because there's a special office and they can help you through that process.
Yeah, I would say, I think I could be wrong. I think the scholarship resources listed on the Penn Engineering site are mostly related to the on-campus programs. But I know that MCIT Online is eligible for federal financial aid, as you were saying. There can be some sort of regulations around that in terms of like how many courses you take each semester. So you would just want to double check on your specific situation. And again, like Kendall said, we can't advise on finances. So we would certainly, but we're happy to connect you with there's a whole office at Penn dedicated just to that topic. And in fact, once students are admitted, we always make sure to set up a webinar with the Student Financial Services Office so that students can kind of have some FaceTime with them, make sure to get questions answered about federal eligibility and the nuances around that. So even if we don't have the answer ourselves, we can, there's Erin, she's just popping in to say hello, but she's working behind the scenes. Yeah, we can definitely connect you with the resources that are necessary. So the next question is, okay, let's see. Woo, they're coming in like hotcakes. Let's see. Oh, okay. This one says, my undergraduate degree is from an overseas university. Do you require official transcripts from that university? So I could answer this in 2 different parts, right? Because there's the moment when someone's a prospective student, and there's the moment when they become an admitted student. Adrian, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, so once you are an admitted student, we do require official transcripts from your universities, no matter if undergrad or master's degree, we do require official transcripts. And so you know, there are different rules for different schools about, you know, how they provide transcripts, what they'll do and what they'll allow basically. So most typically, you know, we'll ask students to send their official transcripts either by mail or you can send it via email. That's totally fine if it just comes directly from the school. If you are having trouble, you know, getting your transcripts sent over, perhaps they need to see you in person to get the transcripts. It can be a little bit tricky, but we are absolutely willing to work with you and figure out, you know, the best way for you to obtain your transcripts and send it to us in time. And basically you'll have, you know, we'll ask you before this first semester starts to send it in. If you're encountering trouble and still need help, we'll work with you throughout the semester to figure out how we can get those transcripts to us. And then before you actually are admitted into the program, you do need to still put transcripts in your application. However, they can be unofficial while you're applying to the program. And so what that means is, you know, it could be that you go onto your university website and download whatever transcript is available to you in your student portal. But as soon as you are admitted, that's when we're going to start sending you the information on how to send us your official transcripts. And again, if you're having trouble sending it, please let us know. We'll work with you to try to figure out how you can send it to us.
Great, thank you. Okay, this is a great question. It says, is this degree possible to do alongside a full-time job? For example, completing the courses with evenings only or weekend only classes and exams. So Kendall, can you help us with that one?
Yes, absolutely. And it's a very good question. So on general, we recommend that students be able to commit at minimum around 15 hours per week per course that they are signed up to take. And so you want to, you know, evaluate your work and life schedule and see if you can make those time commitments. This program was built around working adults. And so we definitely take that into consideration. And for example, obviously the program is online, but majority of the work is asynchronous, meaning that you can attempt your homework assignments and your exams within the given window, as long as you have it submitted by the appropriate date. But you don't have to be logged on at a certain time or have to be committed to, you know, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I have to be logged on or anything like that. So it is a very flexible program, and it is built around working adults so that you can have that flexibility to be able to be successful in the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would add that the majority of our students are mid-career working professionals. And so they might not necessarily be completing the degree quickly. Perhaps they're taking 1 or 2 courses per semester in addition to a full-time job. But we, you know, it's an adjustment period when you get started as well. So we recommend in first semester taking fewer courses if possible, 2 or 1. So you can kind of get acclimated to what it's like for you in your specific situation. I would say if you only have the weekends, that would be a challenge, I think, to complete everything in the weekend. Because also if you think about it in terms of like writing a program or coding, you know, there's the time that you spend actually debugging and working on the code. And then I think it's important to have some time to let the content percolate in your mind. People describe like, you know, sort of stepping away from it and having an aha moment. And so I think to whatever extent, if you're able to spread it out, that is going to be a better experience. But that being said, there are no required synchronous sessions, as Kendall mentioned. So although there are some live sessions, they are all optional, and you can always watch them as a recording later. And then even the exam periods are sort of a several day window of time. So again, you can plan ahead and you can schedule a time that works for you within that window. And then for the assignments themselves, they're typically, I will say it's more structured than what you might have in like a non-credit MOOC that you might take on Coursera. So it's going to be more similar to what you would see in an on-campus degree program, where most of the courses have assignments that are due every week or every 2 weeks. So you can kind of start to get into a rhythm with those. Okay, so this person has a question about the TOEFL waiver. And the TOEFL is a test of English proficiency for those who might have had an international experience in their undergraduate days. But this person says that their undergraduate degree was conducted in English. So in that case, it's likely that the TOEFL waiver would be approved. You would not need to send in a TOEFL test score. And the way that works is that you fill out your application, you actually go ahead and submit it. So you press submit. At that point, the system will notice that perhaps your undergraduate degree was from an international institution, and you will automatically get an email saying that you need to submit TOEFL scores. Within that email, there will be a link to request a TOEFL waiver, and that link will be customized to you and to your application. And so you can use that link to go ahead and submit the waiver, and we'll process it on our side. So if you have an education experience that is where English is the primary language of instruction, you can just let us know that in the waiver notes. And like I said, those are likely to be approved. So whether that's undergraduate or graduate, both of those would be considered acceptable. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. This question is, may we engage in research with professors while attending MCIT Online? And I know that's relatively rare, but it has been done. Adrian, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. So, if you have an interest in doing research, you are certainly welcome to pursue that option, either as a paid research assistant with one of our faculty or as a volunteer in their lab. And if you're interested in doing so, my recommendation is to go onto the Penn Engineering website, look at our faculty listings. In our faculty listings, you'll see what the research topics are that our faculty specialize in, what are some of their recent published papers, some of their awards, and you'll see, there might be a faculty that would be a good fit for you based on what their background is. So I would encourage you, if you have a faculty you'd like to work with, you can absolutely reach out to them, see if there's any availability they have in their lab. There are, I think with COVID having happened in this past year, I think faculty have sort of discovered ways to have their students do research virtually, remotely, not in the lab. And so there would be probably some opportunity there for you to pursue that if you can't be near campus or on campus. I will say that we do not offer any credited research options such as independent study or a master's thesis for MCIT Online students. However, we don't want that to limit you if that is still something that you're interested in pursuing. So I would encourage you, if that is something you'd like to do, see if there are research opportunities available at Penn Engineering. We also have fellow students who have actually done research at Penn Engineering as well. And so if that's something you're interested in, you can reach out into the Slack workspace and see, who's done it and what advice they have for you. So while we don't have any credited options, don't let that limit you. You can absolutely, follow up on your own and talk to faculty and see if they have any availability for you to work with them in their lab, either as a volunteer or as a paid research assistant.
Thank you. Okay, this question is related to some of the non-credit course material that we have on Coursera. So Penn Engineering has a MOOC called Computational Thinking for Problem Solving. And we also have a specialization called Introduction to Programming with Python and Java. And so these are courses that, that our team created and put out there in the world for anyone to take. We definitely recommend them for those who are interested in MCIT Online. And this person is asking, do either of those courses count toward the MCIT Online degree? So Kendall, do you want to go ahead and take that one?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, those courses are meant to help you gain some helpful knowledge and preparation for the program, but they are not credited courses in our program. And so while we encourage you to participate in those courses and use them as an on-ramp for the MCIT online program, unfortunately, we will not be able to count those towards your actual degree with us. Those are run as MOOCs, and they don't have, as Olivia mentioned earlier, the structure or grading that's involved with our actual accredited courses online.
Right, so they're a great way for a person to get a sense of, like, is this something that I think is fun? Is this interesting to me? If you truly have had no exposure to programming before or the fundamentals of computer science, we suggest the Computational Thinking for Problem Solving course to get started with, because it really kind of holds your hand through what it means to think like a computer and like a computer scientist. It's a kind of a different way of thinking than humans are normally accustomed to, but it's kind of just a great building block. And we like to know that if you apply, because it shows that you've taken some initiative, you have some interest in Penn engineering and in the content. It means you have some experience with online learning. So we like to see some of that, because like I said, if you have not had any exposure to any of those things beforehand at all, it can be a steep learning curve in the beginning. And then the introduction to Python and Java is special in its own way because it uses some of the very same content from our degree program itself. So you can see what some of the actual videos look like. The instructor is the same instructor who teaches our first course. So that is kind of like a preview, sneak peek in a way of the content. The assignments are, what's the word to say, a little bit more, they are shortened. I guess I'd say they won't take as long as what the sort of the full degree assignments would take. So it's also meant to be a tool to see if the style feels like a good fit for you, and also just could be a refresher or give you kind of a head start on the content in the first course. But as Kendall said, neither of them confer any credit, any university credit, but do mention them on your resume and in your personal statement if you're applying, because they are viewed favorably by the admissions committee. Okay. So this question is about the program experience in terms of coursework, and they are asking if most of the coursework is individual or group work. And someone else I think I saw was asking whether there are ever projects in the courses. So Adrian, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so I think it depends on course to course how much group work there is, but you'll tend to find, I believe in every course, there is some group work that is involved. In 591, I believe it's 591 specifically, you'll start out mostly doing individual assignments, and then the course ends with a group project at the end. In some of our other courses, that you can be working with a group throughout the course. So it depends which course you're in. But I think it'll give you an opportunity. What's nice about the group work is, being online, I think it can be challenging to meet people sometimes. Doing that group work, you'll be able to meet other people in the program, form relationships there. And so, we like to provide that in all of our courses just so that you can meet and collaborate with other people.
Awesome. Erin is just peeking in every now and then to make sure everything is going okay, keeping us on our toes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and transition back to the last part of our presentation with regards to the basics on MCIT Online and some of the more admissions side of the presentation. So let me just make sure everything is in order here. I think it is. Thank you so much, Adrian and Kendall, for all of your wisdom and commentary. Feel free to join in as I'm chatting in this last section if I miss anything important. And let us go back to our presentation here. All right. So we have been talking about the online Master of Computer and Information Technology. And this is a really unique degree. This was brought on campus about 20 years ago at Penn Engineering. And so it's a very established degree with lots of graduates out in the world getting awesome jobs. And what's unique about this degree is that it's designed for people without a computer science background. So what that means is a person needs an undergraduate degree in any field and an aptitude for quantitative skills. But other than that, the person would be eligible to apply. And the degree is the exact same degree that is conferred on campus to our on-campus students. The diploma is the same. There's no mention of online. And so this is because the curriculum is the same and even the instructors are the same, as we mentioned earlier. That being said, because of the way the content is delivered, the price is lower than what you'll find on campus. So while you don't get the beauty of the trees on Locust Walk every day as you walk to campus, and some of the other on-campus resources, I think we're really proud of the resources that we do have available. And even though the experience is online, we work really hard to make sure that our students understand that they are full-fledged Penn students who are welcome on campus anytime and who are going to be Penn alumni and joining a huge network of Penn alums. So we've talked some about the curriculum already. As Adrian mentioned, there are 2 courses that focus more on the programming side. There are 2 courses that focus more on the math side, and then 2 courses that focus more on the hardware side. So with all of that, you know, one thing I like to say to people is that, you know, if you're interested in learning a programming language, you could go out and do a boot camp and learn a programming language. And for some folks, that is exactly perfect. And that is the extent of what they need. But those who go through this degree program and these accelerated 6 core courses, by the time you finish these 6 core courses, you can teach yourself any programming language. And that I consider to be a superpower and a necessity for some industries, given the state of the world and how quickly technology changes. So once you have that core understanding under your belt, you can then kind of specialize into more targeted and niche topics that are the same electives that our on-campus computer science master's students are taking. So these could be with machine learning, data science, computational systems. We have a variety of electives and more on the way. So there are different ways that students can go through the program at different speeds, I think I want to say. So really, there's not a lot of restrictions on how you do it. What we see here is one 5-semester sample plan. This is one path that a student could take, which is basically 2 courses each semester, including the summer. So in my mind, this is actually a pretty fast way of completing the degree. There's no breaks in it, and 2 courses in addition to working full-time is quite a lot of work. So this is possible, but this is only one variation of what a person could do. So again, since most people are mid-career working professionals, you can kind of adapt the semesterly schedule to how your life is going. So let's say, you know, as we recommend, you in your first semester, you might take 1 course to see how it goes and see how your time management is playing out. You're getting used to being a student again. Many of our students have not been in school for a long time. You're learning a lot of different programs like Coursera and Slack and Piazza and Zoom. So there's a lot to get acclimated to. And then maybe at the end of that semester, you feel like, wow, I feel really confident. I have my feet under me. I'm ready to take 2 courses. So you take 2 courses in the next semester. Then perhaps it's the summer and you're ready to not take classes for a little while and focus on your family or work or vacation. So summer is considered an optional term. You don't even have to let us know. You can just not sign up for summer classes, and it's as easy as that. Then in the fall, you want to go back to 1 or 2 or 3 courses. All of that is fine. There's no, I mean, you can see the status is there. Part-time is considered 1 to 2. Full-time is considered 3 to 4, but you never have to sort of notify us about your status. It's just a matter of signing up for the courses that work for you in that semester, being mindful of the prerequisites. That being said, if you do need to take a semester off in the fall or spring, you can do that as well. So our students can take a leave of absence. You can take up to 4 semesters of leave of absence, and you need to finish the degree within 7 years total. So for most folks, that is within reach. And then in terms of how the payment goes, the tuition is paid based on the number of courses that you take each semester. So in this plan, the person is taking 2 courses in spring 2022. So they would pay 2 times the tuition and fees. So the total you can see here would be $5,280. That includes tuition and fees for 2 courses. Now, if you were to go down to 1 course, then you would just pay the $2,500 plus $140 for that semester. Typically, you pay at the beginning of the semester, but Penn offers a payment plan option through a third-party vendor so that you can spread out the payments a little bit more if needed. So this is talking a little bit about some of the things that we're most excited about, some of the features that helps to clarify how our program is on a day-to-day basis. So as we mentioned, there are pre-recorded lectures and no synchronous real-time sessions are required. We have a robust online community. Our Slack channels are many, and there's a diversity of topics and interests, which is just a joy to see students connecting with each other. And I will say networking with each other as well in real time. I'm really proud of our career services. Our Associate Director of Professional Development and Networking is outstanding. She creates a ton of content every month, a lot of content that is evergreen and available to you on YouTube as a student. But then once you finish the core courses, she also will reach out and help you with some one-on-one counseling. This picture here is so you can see Emily on the far left. She visited Coursera 2 years ago, right before the pandemic hit, and we were able to gather together some of our West Coast students. I think what we see here in the picture is MCIT alumni. So we try to do that when possible, bring back alumni either virtually or in person to share best practices, share their stories, and help our students to see, how worth it is to persevere through the program. Then, as we mentioned, the program is eligible for federal financial aid as well. So here we see some of the application details. So here's a list of items that are needed when you're filling out the application. So we have a resume, a personal statement. You need to provide unofficial college transcripts for any academic credit that you've taken. Even if they're from what you might consider a transfer school, we would want to see that unofficial transcript as well. And this is because Your coursework is an important way for the admissions committee to evaluate what courses, what kind of content you've been exposed to in the past. We need to evaluate whether a student might be overqualified or underqualified. And those grades on different courses are really helpful to see, especially with regards to math. Math is something that is an aptitude, which is very important for this degree. And if you've taken any math classes, we want to see those on the transcripts. So there's an $80 fee for submitting your application that is non-refundable. We need at least 2 letters of recommendation. The GRE or GMAT are optional. And again, if English is not your native language, you may need to submit official TOEFL scores. So then once you've started the process, the CollegeNet application has a section called a checklist, which you can kind of keep an eye on the status of your application. With regard to official transcripts, we don't need those until after you've been admitted. I will say that if you're, as an applicant, if you're looking at your transcript and perhaps it's not in English, or perhaps it is, the GPA is on a scale other than a 4.0 scale, it's extremely helpful for us if you use some kind of service like Certifile or WES evaluation, because then we can just easily understand your academic record, and Certifile in particular is already lined up with CollegeNet, so it just goes into our system right away. In fact, if you use Certifile and are admitted, you don't need to resubmit your official application, official transcript, because we will already have it. So below that, you can see some of the deadlines. We have 2 deadlines. One is the early deadline, and that is actually not on here, but the August 1st is our early deadline, is coming up. And then the regular deadline is October 1st. So I saw somebody had a question about, if you submit early, do you also find out whether you get in earlier? So I'd say yes and no. Typically we have about a 5 to 6 week turnaround time for the decisions to go out. So if you submit by August 1st and we receive all of your materials, including 2 letters of recommendation and potentially the TOEFL scores, in that case, you would learn your decision in mid-September. So everybody finds out on the same day. It doesn't, the decisions are not on a rolling basis. They are all at once. I want to say September 15th is the date for that. And then again, if you get all of your materials in by October 1st, you would find out, I guess it's a little bit of a shorter turnaround, so we can get things rolling for the spring. In that case, you would find out on November 2nd. So the way you find out is that we send you an email letting you know that your letter is available in the CollegeNet system. And once you're admitted, we have an onboarding course that opens up on December 6th. So you actually want to get started right away and getting acquainted to all the different platforms that I mentioned. We even have, we open up our first course a little bit early as an option for folks to get acclimated to the course content itself and the platform. So, so I would definitely plan to start sort of a soft launch, if you will, in December. There are a lot of accounts that need to be set up, and what you want to do is have everything out of the way, all of the introductory stuff out of the way, so that on January 10th, when the classes start, you're registered, you're comfortable, you are familiar with all of the policies, and ready to get started right away, so you don't lose any time on your classes. So here's another breakdown of the tuition and fees. Again, it's 10 courses total, so the very total is $25,000 for tuition and $1,400 for fees. But again, the payment is staggered in the sense that you pay per semester depending on how many courses you take each semester. So here you can see a breakdown of how much it would cost in one semester. if you were to take 1, 2, 3, or 4 courses. It's very rare to take 4 courses in a semester. Certainly wouldn't do it in the beginning anytime soon. So just wanted to, again, point out some of our resources that you can access at any time. We have a very robust FAQ database on our website. And I will say our website again is onlinelearning.scas.upenn.edu, as opposed to our email address, which is online-learning@cs.upenn.edu. This goes to our awesome admissions team, who again is very responsive and helpful. If you are paralyzed and not sure where to start or stuck in your application process, please reach out because we are more than happy to help you with any issue that you may encounter. We have a mailing list, which is hosted on the Coursera website. So if you sign up for that, you'll get notifications about webinars like the one we're doing today. I think the webinars are one of our best resources for learning more about the program and getting a sense of the spirit of the program and some of the people that are involved. We mentioned 2 MOOC options that are on Coursera. One is Introduction to Programming with Python and Java. So it's a series of 4 courses that can help you kind of start to learn the basics of Python and Java. It's a bit accelerated, although not as much as our 4-credit course. Then we have Computational Thinking for Problem Solving, which again is kind of for very beginners. I really recommend it for folks who are wondering whether this is a path that they want to go down or not. And if it is, we are so excited for you to apply. This degree can be life-changing for people if you want to pivot in your career, if you want to enhance the career that you already have, or even if you're just retired and are a lifelong learner and insatiable in what you want to learn. We have folks on all ends of those spectrums that are in our courses. And like I said, as a student in MCIT Online, you're a Quaker and a Penn student, so you have access to many of the same resources as the on-campus students. We cannot wait to host people back on campus again when that's possible. And we have an awesome team. Kendall and Adrian are incredible advisors, and we have even more folks who are committed every day to the well-being of our students and connecting you with resources at the university and beyond. So with that, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. It was lovely to interact with you, and it's so exciting to see that folks are interested in this degree. It makes sense because it's a pretty awesome experience, and we are going to end the verbal portion of the presentation now, but some of our folks are going to hang out behind the scenes answering questions for a little longer. So again, if your question wasn't answered today, please feel free to reach out to us at our email address, which is listed in the chat, online-learning@cs.upenn.edu, or sign up for one of our Zoom sessions that are available every week with an admissions counselor. Take care.